Oh, I didn't watch that.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'll try this again. Okay, welcome to Friends of Madison Park, our neighborhood meeting. Thank you guys for coming. It's a really good turnout tonight. That's wonderful. I will go through my piece as quickly as I can so we can get to some of the more action issues. I wanted to just give everybody kind of a 6-month update of where we are, because our first meeting was on April 24th. And that was 6 months ago at Miguel Roosevelt. I don't know how many people that are here today were there, but it was a phenomenal turnout, which was great. And in this 6 months, just to give you a little bit of background, we have now a board with 12 members. We have 14 committees that are actively working on different projects and events for the community. We have over 300 subscribers on our email list, and if you haven't signed up to be receive the monthly newsletters, actually I've been putting them out twice a month, please do that because you get a lot of current information. It's really helpful. We have close to 350 followers on our Instagram page, and we have over 250 people who have donated to the Friends of Madison Park. And and just to give all transparency, right now we have in our bank account $23,242.79, which is basically they're pretty close to zero to be there. And I should say money's going out as money comes in, but we now also have Christmas lights up and down through the business district, and they will be up year round. When we are done with the season and the leaves have all fallen and all of that, we are continuing to hire the Holiday Lighting Pro company to maintain the lights. And so if things need to be changed, bulbs or anything needs to be changed, that will get done throughout the year. So we've signed a 1-year contract for that. And we've got a bunch of wonderful things coming up. I did want to go through a few more things before I turn it over to the different committee chairs to tell you where they are and open up discussions on a few different items. We had the discussion with the committees of the board before the full-on meeting tonight of whether or not we will continue to have monthly meetings or maybe switch it to a little less frequently. And there have been a few suggestions, but at this juncture, what we think we are in consensus that we will do is that next month, because normally we do it the last Monday of every month, but that falls right after Thanksgiving vacation. So we're going to switch the next month's meeting to the following Monday, which is December 2nd. And so I will put this on the website and we'll put out reminders, and Ann is putting it on the bulletin board so everyone will know the next meeting is December 2nd. And that meeting, the purpose of that meeting is to really plan for what we are going to do in 2024. So if you're able to attend, that would be great. We will be looking for volunteers for events and programs that we want to put on in 2024. We need to decide what events and programs we really want to focus on. I am overly full of ideas of things that we can do, but we're going to try and sort of pick and choose what events we will have for the community in 2024. So keep that in mind. And then after that, we will do the next meeting at the end of January, which is Monday, January 30th. And we are talking about either doing neighborhood meetings every other or every quarter. And we're sort of working through what's the best approach. We want to be sure, Friends of Madison Park above all, wants to be sure we really keep up with communication with the neighborhood, that everybody knows what's going on. And in order to do that, we're hoping we can get a lot of subscribers on our newsletter, because if I'm posting 2 times a month, what's kind of what we need action items on, what we need volunteers for, what's coming up, hopefully that is a really good resource for everybody in the neighborhood to follow what we're doing. The other thing that we are doing in this next month is we are sending out a flyer about Friends of Madison Park. And I'll pass some of these around because it's fun to see. So that we really are reaching out to as many people in the community as we possibly can. And this, partly on cost and everything, but we are going down to Lake Washington Boulevard with these flyers or with these mailers, and they should reach everybody in our immediate neighborhood up through Broadmoor and Washington Park and down to Lake Washington Boulevard. It's part of Giving Tuesday campaign, which is November 28th, but as much as anything, we just want the word to get out that Friends of Madison Park is here, and we are hoping to get more people to volunteer with their time, with their donations, become recurring members, sign up for the newsletter, so that we keep people tuned in to what's going on in the neighborhood. A couple of other things that came up, and I sent a newsletter out about, and if people have questions, please raise your hand, is a few people have asked me what's going on with the number 11 bus system, and and I don't really have any straight answers quite. The city has been doing surveys on that, what different people want for different bus routes. And I think it's worthwhile to look at the newsletter that went out about 10 days ago that I put out that gives you the city's responses. Apparently, over 50% of people who take the number 11 bus are happy with the 53%, I think they quoted, are happy with the changes that are going to be proposed. But I don't know that that's quite reaching the demographic of people in Madison Park. And I just want to be sure people take the opportunity to communicate with the city. They are still doing surveys and they are still asking for feedback. So that is the things to talk about. One of the other questions that has come up that I don't have complete answers for, but people are asking about the Triangle Park in the business district and who owns that and is how people able to keep using that park. And for the restaurant purposes, we're working on that, just so everyone in the neighborhood knows. The history of that is that it is part of the city property. A family, the McNay family, donated a great deal to revive the park there and put in the irrigation system and to put in the plantings there. And Friends of Madison Park pays for that irrigation for that area. So if there are questions about that, I don't have full answers, but I'm working on finding that out as well. And I do want to promote one other thing. Friends of Madison Park is wanting to emphasize to the community to shop locally. And so we have a promotion to shop local. There are flyers that you'll start to see in the windows of the different shops around to shop local on let's see if I can remember the date.
The 11th, November 11th?
November 11th, December 9th,
Oh, it's around.
and December 16th. And part of this is to reach not only the shops right down here, but also to think when you're doing your holiday shopping, to think about Arboretum Court and to think about Madison Valley and all the shops that are there. So we really want to encourage that, and we actually have two people here tonight from Madison Valley who are going to talk to you for a few minutes about what's going on for Madison Valley with all the construction that is going on. So we want to work with and collaborate with Madison Valley to be sure that that's a thriving business community as much as it is. Okay, all right, I'm gonna let Ann go next. Oh, yes, and, wait a minute, I need to make a motion to approve the minutes, I do this every time, to approve the minutes from the last meeting on, I wasn't here. September 25th. Suzanne moves, do I get a second? Second, Ann moves, so, thank you. All right, Ann Woodford is gonna speak.
So just a reminder for committee members, people that are doing things, hopefully everybody got the email today. I need what's happening in December emailed to me by the 3rd of November. So I can change the bulletin boards, I can change the signs, I wanna make sure that everything we have going on is in there. That bulletin board is only, this time it's only going to be December, because we do have quite a few events going on there, so I wanna make sure that that's all on there, and then it looks like what they changed to.
They're great, by the way.
Thank you so much.
They really are.
So,
And you want to tell them
Yes.
a little bit about.
So on December 9th and the 16th, we will be having a vendors artisan vintage market in, Bank of America parking lot. Those are Saturdays, they run from 10 until 3. Hopefully we'll have 15 vendors, I have quite a few people there, but a good option is shop local as well. A couple of the vendors will be, local artists who live down here in Madison Park, they're gonna set up booths. If you know somebody that would like to participate, email me their information and I'll reach out. They do need to understand, it is outdoors, they need to have a tent. Friends of Madison Park is not supplying any of that, but it is free to the vendors or the artisans, so. And we should have a nice fun mix of food, art, crafts, great for holiday shopping, etc. That's all I have to say. Okay, silent auction's going really well, but I'll let Octavia.
Okay, I'll get to the fourth and one.
Yes.
And Diane Buckley, who is our treasurer, wasn't able to be here tonight to give us a financial report. But I think, as you can see, we are doing well. And we have a good, solid base in the bank right now. We have expenses, obviously. We are getting ready to have our first annual fundraiser, Warmth and Wine event. And I think I'll get Jenny to come up and tell a little bit about what that is.
So this Saturday, we have our Warmth and Wine event. Thanks to Park Shore for giving us a gorgeous room overlooking Lake Washington. We're gonna have Woodinville wineries, different wineries, from local Woodinville wineries there. And the owners or a representative of the wineries talking about the wine. We're gonna have wonderful jazz music, live jazz music, light hors d'oeuvres, and running a silent auction, which is so many different items to bid on. So we are almost sold out. You can go to the website if you would like to go and grab your ticket, but we are almost sold out. And we do need some additional help for setup and cleanup. If you would like to help us, we're gonna be in the room at 2 o'clock that afternoon for the event at 6. Just come and see me and love to get your help. Thank you.
And I'm gonna do a little bit of plug for all the different things on the silent auction, because It's kind of amazing how many, different things have been donated. Actually, my husband and I have a place in the Methow Valley, which I would say is in a beautiful setting, so that's one thing that is gonna be on the auction table. There are different restaurant gift certificates, including How to Cook a Wolf. There, City Sweats is donating, and another, Masseuse is donating. We have, packages, vacation packages that will be available, to go to Las Vegas, to go to New Orleans, to go to the Grand Canyon. There's photography sessions, there's flower arranging, sessions, all these different auction items. So it's a remarkable array of things to maybe think about. And there are 5 different wineries who are going to be there. And so with your ticket, you get 5 tasting tickets to try from the 5 different wineries. And then after that, you can either purchase glasses of wine or you can purchase by the bottle. And all of this goes to benefit Friends of Madison Park, so it's a huge fundraiser for us. Yes.
So the auction item will be online?
No, that's a good, next year. Yes, yes.
What date and time is it?
It's this coming Saturday, November 4th, and it starts at 6 o'clock and it's done at 4. Yeah, so please come, we would love to have
If
more.
you're not on Facebook or Instagram, how do you get on your website?
So our website is not part of Instagram necessarily or Facebook. So we're www.friendsofmadisonpark. So if you wanted to, you're probably better to explain this, I'll show you after this, okay? Don't look at me. I know. Any other questions so far? Okay. I'm gonna talk about the holiday festivities, which are, we're winding up to actually have a number of things during the holidays. And it does really start, for us on the 9th of December. On that day, the Red Umbrella is having, the Red Wagon, the shop called Red Umbrella. The Red Wagon is having, Santa will be there, and they have their toy drive as well. So all the shops, this is a big day for shopping locally. The pop-up market will be there. The Red Wagon are doing their special event that they've done for a number of years. We're partnering, Friends of Madison Park is partnering with them to sponsor the toy drive for Wellsprings Family Services. So there will be bins around the neighborhood for that. And then at 5 o'clock that afternoon, we are lighting a tree for the first time in the park, in the park by the playground. So the large cedar is going to be lit, and we have students from the Gilbert Elementary School who are going to be singing, as well as some of our own favorite people. Cam, Grace, a number of people are going to be doing Christmas caroling, and it just should be kind of the start of hopefully a wonderful holiday season for everyone. So that is what we are planning, and then Christmas Shifts is on December 21st. And on December 21st, they don't come until 8:40 that evening, so it's kind of a late arrival for Christmas Shifts. But starting, I think it's at 4 or 5 o'clock, I will double check this, the bathhouse here will be open. Santa will be here for Santa photos, and there'll be hot chocolate, and Park Shore is donating a huge number of cookies for us, and so that event will be going on before the Christmas Shifts actually arrive. And there also, my understanding is there is a pub crawl as well that evening. That's more the adult side. And Barbara, can you just give us an update on the speaker series as well?
Sure. Hi, everyone. So, you probably don't want to hear the whole list of them because I've been saying them over the last months, but we have January through April booked with amazing speakers. I am super excited about this. May fell through, it was history of Madison Garden, not gonna work out, that's fine, you go with the flow, and I've got 3 different potential speakers to talk about gardening and pruning, so it's the season in May. So I think that'll be fantastic. And,
Who is our first one?
the first one is Casey Brown about New Year's resolutions, tips to keep your fitness and your nutrition goals on track. So that'll go good with our cookies we'll be serving.
Good comment. Good comment.
We can start the day after.
Okay.
Yeah. And so right now I'm writing up everyone's bios and all the information that will be going out to the community on this. And then Octavia and I'll be looking up these different gardeners and choosing the last person.
And those will be in the bathrooms.
Oh, so it's here, every second Tuesday of the month, starting January, at 7 p.m. I think, Coffee Charles. And the talk goes for about 90 minutes, including Q&A.
Are they here for you?
No, but we can look into that.
An option?
Yes, thank you for that, thank you.
It would be really great.
It would be really great.
And actually, you can charge for it.
Yes, true, yeah, because it will be a charge of
Right,
$20 to
yeah.
come, so, yeah.
That's great, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
You're
it
getting
is.
us, people are getting us up to 10.
Keep the money coming.
Next year, it could be a Zoom. It could be, you could attend and pay for.
That's good. Thank you. Great idea. We can brainstorm. Any other questions? Thanks.
Okay. And then, I don't know if Kip is still here.
Yeah,
There you
I'm sorry.
are. Yes, okay, will you give us an update on the garden tour and the beautify Madison?
Sure, we've got 2 great things that are coming up that are now new as part of what Friends of Madison Park are gonna be doing. One of them is gonna be just a cleanup, and that's gonna be in April 20th. We're working with the city. What our goal is just to clean up our business area, clean up the park. So, we're working with the city, because they have a program that will help us with that, with tools and guidelines and assistance with that, but we'll also be needing a lot of volunteers. So it'll be great to kind of clean up Madison Park in April. And then in May 18th, we're going to do a garden tour. And Octavia and I have gone around and knocking on a lot of doors, and your garden looks great in front, I hope the back looks good too. So that's kind of the way we've been approaching it. We've got about 10 or 11, 12 homes that have already agreed to be part of that, and we're finding the kind of clumps like down here on the lower, we try to just keep it on the flats, from Canterbury through Madison Park, all the way to the tennis club. And it seems like we're kind of getting clumps of households, which is great, because that way people can go and you can see 3 or 4, 5 different homes and then move on to the next one. So we still have some more to add to that. And we'll also need volunteers for that. We've got a plan in place on how to get volunteers, but mostly I think it'll be just, if you agree to volunteer, you know someone wants to volunteer, it'll probably be just like being in someone's garden, not answering questions, but just like making sure that people are coming and going and everything's good. So anyway, that's what we have coming up.
And if you have a beautiful garden, let us know.
Or know of someone that has
Has a
a
beautiful
garden
garden.
as well.
Some hidden jewels.
We got a couple people in here that are on that, so they're doing it.
Right.
So.
And one of the things in the Beautify Madison Park that we will be trying to incorporate, and we may have a campaign the same way we did for getting all the trees lit along the business corridor, is we're going to try and have planters brought in and have flowers that just make everything fuller and prettier for the season. So I know if you walk by Martha Harris, there's this one little cluster of beautiful planted. It's Martha Harris. So, and it's wonderful. And we want to replicate that if we can throughout the business district. So we're working working on getting that together, but we probably will do a campaign to raise some funds for that when we get a little bit closer. So I want to, I've asked Colleen, and I'm gonna say your name, Marcel, okay, or Cam, to come. They both have businesses in Madison Valley. And we've been talking about collaborating and working together. And I just wanted them to come and kind of tell you what's been going on for them in Madison Valley. And we want to try and support them as much as we can and have them as vibrant a business community as I feel like we do here.
Yeah, so I'm Marcel Camp. I own Camp Social House. I'm from Madison Valley. Colleen.
Yes, I believe that I own Bob's Framing Studio.
And, yeah, we're on the board of the Madison Valley Merchants Association, so we're representing the group of businesses that are down in Madison Valley. And there's kind of a twofold conversation today. So first, you're gonna see more of us. So we've just been incredibly impressed with what the Friends of Madison Park has done in such a short time, and really bringing the community together, both residential and business. And so we connected with Octavia through Libby, who's kind of an informal camper, and a friend. And so we're gonna start working, as much as we can to be more involved. I know the first example of this for me personally was we were part of the Booze and Brews bar crawl on Saturday, which was super fun if anybody went. So we're just excited to be partnering more to really bring Madison Park and the Valley together. The reality is Madison's one strip of street. We see a lot of the same people. So we'd just like to work kind of on an informal partnership as we work potentially towards something more formal. So we just want to say hi, first of all. And then we also want to talk a little bit about, somewhat in the spirit of the Giving Tuesday, and really as we go into the holiday season, just transparently. So we, as a Merchants Association, have been very proactively, very proactive efforts, working with the Seattle Department of Transportation on the Madison BRT project. So all of that construction, effectively, is what we're really trying to learn as much as we can about to stay ahead of the business impact. Because unfortunately, when we take a look at just Madison 23rd through 32nd, this year alone, we lost 20% of the businesses on that strip. And Madison Valley is a very unique neighborhood in Seattle because it's comprised exclusively of small business. And so we're busting it to make sure we maintain what is a very special and impactful neighborhood. And so we're just here to ask for your help in continuing to support us the way you do and you have been. Keep us in mind for parties, for gifts, for gift cards, right? Supporting these businesses. I'm also just kind of sideline. I'm also a residential real estate broker. I see the impact on property value as we continue to see businesses decline. So selfishly raising all of the flags, saying thank you in advance for your support of the Madison Valley businesses. And we hope to continue to partner together to bring more fun and more community connection.
Yeah, and just to piggy off what Marcel has said, a little bit more about the SDOT project. As far as we know, that construction does continue on for into 2024, at least the summer of 2024. So we're looking at many, many more months of this. And we just wanted to remind you guys that we're still there. Please come and support us. We'd love to see some friendly neighborhood faces, and especially around the holidays. For a lot of small businesses, like Marcel said, we're exclusively comprised of small businesses. This is what a lot of us make our money for the whole year. So we really appreciate you guys considering coming over to our neck of the woods a little bit more often. And also, we're just so impressed with what you guys have done. I was actually at that first meeting in April, and it just kind of blew my mind how much motivation and community, was in that room. And so I'm just very impressed. I think we're both very, very impressed with what you guys have been able to accomplish here. And so we're just, looking for mutual support. We're going to support you. Hopefully you guys can support us a little bit and make the community a little bit bigger. Yeah,
When does the PCC open?
Oh, that's a good question. We don't have an answer for that. But I do know the construction is going at a good clip.
So we speak with the contractor, so Nat from Cafe Flora, Nat owns Flora, has a direct relationship with them. We don't know the exact date, it's a private, contracted job, so 2024, yeah.
Is y'all's Merchants Association the closest thing the valley has to what we've got going on here tonight?
Correct,
or-
yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah, and it's a long established merchant association, so 501(c) status, all the fun things, been around for goodness.
20 years?
Yeah, exactly, 20 years.
Several
Personally,
iterations
Yeah.
of that, and I would say, you can contact either of us if you wanna learn more about that, or Nat, who's the president of NPMA.
All right, sweet.
Maybe we need to have a meeting at camp.
yeah. Awesome. Thanks for your time, Al.
Yeah, thank you. Well, and I do think our boundaries are a bit arbitrary on where Madison Park Association ends, but I think one of the things that, has come through to us in this last 6 months is the more inclusive we are, the more we all benefit. And so we really do want to work with Madison Valley, with Madrona. One of the things that we're working on now, and I spoke to them about the other day, is I've been working with the president of the Queen Anne Neighborhood Association, and we are slowly pulling together a number of neighborhood associations to create an alliance of different neighborhood associations where we share ideas, and doing the same thing with Capitol Hill and Madrona, is where we're sharing ideas and hopefully having more of a force with the city if things come up, like what Madison Valley is dealing with the traffic, all the street issues. Aside, it's good that they're redoing Madison, but it has taken forever, and the impact on top of COVID to Madison Valley has just been huge. So let's keep them in mind when, instead of going to U Village, just go right down the street. So, all right, and the other, I don't know, is Neil here yet? Oh, you are here. Come on up, Neil. Neil is the advocate for McGillivray Elementary School, and there are a fair number of rumors flying about what's going on for McGillivray Elementary School and for the Seattle School District, and what plans are ahead for McGillivray Elementary School. So I had reached out to Meg Bartley, who's the president of the PTA there, and she connected me with Neil. Am I saying your name?
Yeah, Neela.
Neela, excuse me. So if you want to come up and tell a little bit about what's going on.
Yes, so my name is Neela Kendall, and currently I have a second grader and a fifth grader at McGillivray. So McGillivray's over on 38th and Blaine, and I don't know, anyways, kind of tucked right next to Broadmoor Golf Course there. And McGillivray was actually started in 1918, so the school is over 100 years old, and it is, I think it's a great school. My kids have just loved it. We've met some incredible neighbors. Basically, the boundary is Denny Street, and it goes west to 23rd, and then when it comes down to 24th, and kind of interlock in there. So Madison Valley, a little bit of Denny Blaine, Madison Park, Madison Valley, a little bit of Denny Blaine, and then kind of that hillside Arboretum neighborhood. And as some of you may have read, the enrollment in Seattle Public School as a whole has been decreasing over the last couple of years. From what I understand, this is in part to the pandemic, but in part just due to decreasing numbers of kids throughout Seattle. And from what I understand, this is not a unique situation to our public schools. And the demographers are projecting a dip and then an increase in 20 years or something. So, but when it's very expensive to buy houses in a place like Seattle, it's harder for families with young children to come and then send their kids to school. So there is McCleary decision, has to do with how Washington State public schools are funded, and Seattle was actually unfortunately a loser in that, and so, we have lost some money, and there's levy caps and all sorts of fun things that I don't know enough about, but that has been in the news, and so, there's concern about our funding, and also a number of schools in Seattle, not McGillivray, have actually been under enrolled. McGillivray has actually maintained our enrollment. We did go down after the pandemic, but we have maintained our enrollment since the pandemic. But there are some schools that are so low, like less than 170 kids, that Seattle Public Schools is not giving them like an art teacher because they have kind of a cap. Like, you have to have 175 kids for us to give you an art teacher, things like that. So there's talk about consolidation, which I guess I personally am not sure it's a bad idea. If you have that few kids, it's hard to really, support a school that's so small, and plus then you have a lot of split classes, and you have not as many friends for your kids to get to know. But anyways, that's all not an issue in McGillivray. We have, again, maintained our size, but the Seattle Public Schools in general is talking about how to kind of, as a whole, with the McCleary decision and less money, moving towards the state of Washington moving towards larger elementary schools. Maybe some of you read in the newspaper about Bellevue closing, I think, 2 or 3 elementary schools last year. And their model is to go up to over 500 kids per school, is my understanding. And that's kind of their lowest number. That's what they want to do it across. So I don't know. Seattle has had a number of meetings about what's a well-resourced school. And we're not sure what Seattle's model is going to be, but it seems like they probably don't want to have schools that have less than, 200 kids. But we don't know. The point is they've had meetings, and they're going to release potentially some information in November. They're going to release information in November, which either says these are our suggestions, or this is what we're going to do. We're not really sure. McGillivray, as we said, is a really well-resourced, we think, already school. We appreciate all the community support. Over time, we've love it that we're gonna have kids at the tree lighting thing, and in the past, we've actually had, McGillivray supported the garden tour, and, there's other, we've had cleanups, and it was really great support from the community for our move-a-thon. A number of businesses were sponsors, so we really appreciate that. But we're not sure what's gonna happen to McGillivray. It could be that they say, we're gonna combine you with somebody else. I mean, it could be Montlake. Montlake's just now, if you're gonna use driven by, that the school is the back part is down, and they gutted the old part and are making it to a school that's gonna support over 500 kids. So I don't know if they're gonna send McGillivray kids over there, but it's not gonna be open for 2 years. I'm not trying to spread rumors, we don't know, but we will find out potentially more in November. Yeah.
We won't know, but it's likely that the executive team from the district will introduce a plan that lame ducks will vote on. I guess I would say if you want McGillivray to continue to stay open, I think now is probably a prudent time to back channel if you have any connections with the board.
Yes.
Is that fair?
So it's, what I heard from somebody, and again, this is all rumors flying, and but is that the Seattle Public Schools will present options to the school board members who will then vote on it. However, earlier this year we had a big letter writing campaign, and our school board member says, don't bother writing us because we don't have any say. So it's a little confusing, but anyways, regardless, yes. Since this is newer information, that says school board members may have a say. If you know anybody, put in a great word. We definitely have written a lot of letters and saying how we're set up to be a very well-resourced school. Yeah.
I'm new to this area, but I am surprised, impressed, whatever you want to call it, by the number of private schools kids go to. Does that have effect on it?
I mean, there was an increase after the pandemic, but I understand of people enrolling in private schools, but I also understand is that private schools are also decreasing in enrollment. So that's why I don't think it's just, from what I understand from demographers, it is not just a public school decrease in enrollment. And yeah, I mean, I would say that there's a lot of wealth around here, and if people choose to spend their wealth on private schools, even though I think McGillivray is a great school, you can get a great education for free.
What's the enrollment in McGillivray now?
We're about 225.
And what's your max?
I don't really know, because I only had a kid through half of first grade in or 3/4 of first grade, whatever, before the pandemic. And so I don't really remember, but maybe like you could fit it. There were also like portables in the back for a while, and they built a new, really nice new cafeteria and lunch, or cafeteria and performance space with a stage. I mean, I guess you could maybe squeeze another, I don't think it could go a lot more above 300. I'm afraid, somebody else could probably answer that better than me.
Yeah, both of our kids went to, they're grown now, they did very well, it's a great school. Our son used a wheelchair, and when we were enrolling my daughter in kindergarten, there was a letter in the Madison Park Times saying, if you vote for the school levy, they're gonna put an elevator in Gilman. And so we were enrolling our daughter, and we were very excited because the levy had just passed. I said, don't let me put an elevator in. So I started going to school board meetings. And everyone goes, why are you here? No one comes to school board meetings. It doesn't. And then I'm just trying to learn how this all works. Wound up meeting with the head of facilities, and he said, no, we aren't gonna put a levy pass, but we'll spend the money where we want. And went through about a year and a half before our family funded the elevator at McGillivray. Got to know the school board members quite well and the superintendent of schools, and your comment is spot on. Don't wait for the recommendations to come out. It pays to start making noise right now.
Yeah, and we have had a big letter writing, the PTA wrote a big letter, and then we've had individual families, but again, you don't have to have a kid at McGillivray to stay, that for our community, I mean, I don't think anybody wants an empty building, and, I think it's nice, it supports the neighborhood, just having, you know, real estate values for a really solid, good elementary school, so yes, it's not just, I think, current people who have kids there that should feel free to write.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah,
That's, I mean, I
thank
think
you.
that was, I feel like one of the things that Friends of Madison Park wants to do is to be sure that the community does still have a vital school in it, and the building is wonderful and the programs are great. And so I'm not sure exactly where the Friends of Madison Park goes, or, you know, individuals go from here, but we're gonna work with McGillivray Elementary, and I'm in touch with Meg quite a bit to see if we can have our own campaign to try and keep the school going strong, so. Okay, last item on the agenda is the more than a pipe dream, the plan to have a community center for Madison Park. We're in a neighborhood where this is as close as we get to a community center right here in the bathhouse. And the Madison Park Cooperative Preschool is wonderful, and that they let us use this space. In order for us to use this space, they have to get approval from North Seattle Community College. They have to get approval from the Parks Department. They have to get approval from their insurance company in order to let us just be in here. And Elizabeth Talbot, who is back here and president of the Co-op Preschool, and I have been talking a bit as well, in that this facility was, well, you've had a relationship, the preschool has had a relationship with the Parks Department in using the bathhouse for many, many years, 50 years, is that right? 50 years, and back in the 90s, part of the bathhouse was renovated. I'm probably focusing more on the bathhouse than maybe I should be, but every time I come by this space, I think community center potential here. And also to be sure that the preschool continues to have a home if there is a community center here. But I've been yakking about this enough that my husband, who is here, John Zuloff, has been hearing about it, and he and Kevin Larkin, Kevin can't be here tonight, but we wanted to, he wants to start the conversation about if we do have a community center, Where could it be? What would you want to see in a community center? So, John, why don't you come up and I'll put you in the spot. Go for it.
I'm John. I have the good fortune of being married to Octavia. And that gives me a lot of opportunities to volunteer for things. Octavia and I moved to Madison Park in 1976, I think. And when we moved here, this building was here, and I can remember thinking, that looks old and run down. Back in 1976. And I've continued to think about this building for a long time and thinking, could we renovate it? Could we change it? Could we make it bigger? How do we do that? Still have the preschool, have room for meetings, have other things in the building. And that has, of course, taken us in lots of different thinking directions. One is the thought of renovating this. One is the thought of trying to find a community center, a space for a community center, a place to perhaps building a community center. And Octavia has started down the path of meeting with other community centers, Queen Anne and Baker and other places. And then she and I have been talking about, well, let's see if we can't plant a seed of getting a committee together to either reimagine this facility or imagine a regular community center. And I think for us, it probably begins by getting people interested in the idea. So trying to get some names of people who say, I'd like to work on that issue. And then it's a matter of reaching out to the community, I think, and saying to the community, what should this be? What ideas do we have? I've said to Octavia, well, we should just have a basketball court and pickleball. And she said, no, you're off the committee. But the notion of having input from the community, having input from all of you, and reaching out to folks and saying, what are your ideas for this? What's possible? And then I think it's a matter of then starting to talk with the city and talk with other community centers, and talk about funding, and talk about what's possible here. So this is kind of day one, frankly, of planting the seed and starting to give it some sunlight and some water and some nurturing and trying to figure out where it goes. I don't know where it's going to go, but I think I wanted to introduce the concept and then try and see if I can't encourage people to sign on for a committee and start to meet and start to talk about it. What else should we cover?
Well, I think while we're here, okay, while we're here, if people have ideas of what would they like to have a community center be? What would they like to have included? You just raise your hand if you have any thoughts of what you would, and it's not gonna be a pickleball court. It's not gonna be a basketball. But yes.
Why do you think we need one?
Why do I think we need one? Oh, so many reasons, but for one, I think, well, I'll back up a little bit. We raised our family in the Mount Baker neighborhood. And I don't know if anyone in here has ever been to the Mount Baker Community Club. It's a beautiful older building that has been well maintained. And it is truly the hub and kind of heart and soul of that neighborhood. And the presence of that building allowed us to have all sorts of events, all sorts of gatherings there. And I've given this example before. When we lived there, we had our children when we were living there, and I started something called Pied Piper Productions, and it was a kids concert series, and we could go to the community club. We didn't have to pay for it. We could go use the community club. It was really a hub for everything. And we had, private gatherings, we had holiday festivities there, we had everything. We don't have a place where we can go and honestly have a party. Part of the deal here, we can come and we can do these monthly meetings, but we can't have any alcohol here. If you wanna have a party, everybody's gonna wanna be able to have a glass of wine or something. Park Shore has been incredibly generous to let us use their their Lakeview room in order to have our fundraiser. Time and again, there's just the feeling that if something is going on, you can gather in space. And it's a space that is open, again, it kind of goes back to the inclusiveness. It's open to people who live in Madison Valley. They don't have a community center either. It's potentially open to people in Madrona. They don't have a community center. There was a study done, apparently it was in 2017, that anyone in a neighborhood ought to be able to walk to a community center in 20 minutes in a neighborhood community center. We obviously don't have that ability. And I think time and again, as we've been trying to plan events and trying to feel like, well, we can gather here, we just don't have that option. We just don't have that option. So it seems important to me.
Would this also possibly be a place for support groups?
Absolutely.
And also for caring for people who need help in storms or cold weather?
Well, even the emergency hub group, and Gina is here, could address that. They're always coming to Park Shore or wherever they can in order to have meetings, to have trainings, I mean, if you have it, one of the classes for different things. I mean, that was one of the thoughts that we've had. Well, wouldn't it be great if we could offer classes of different kinds for either adults or children? But we don't have a place that we can use for that. Yes.
Also, from preschool to seniors, I think seniors especially benefit from a community center. At my age, it would be great to have a place where I could go for a small group gathering around some activity that I enjoyed. And it was accessible on foot and it was free.
Yeah.
It's a great advantage.
Yeah, we actually spend our winters in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and Jackson has a phenomenal, they're calling it a senior center, but it's really a community center. So I take Spanish classes there, they have a book club there, there's support groups, I gave vaccines there, I'm a nurse. It's just a place where, and it's all age groups, even though it's a senior center. This would be a community center. I think it would be helpful, useful, and people would find it. And yes, the age span of having preschoolers and seniors in a space is really beneficial. Yeah.
Well, this area is the destination, especially during the summer, obviously, but it's the destination for a larger community than just Madison Park.
Yeah.
And, I mean, for example, and then this is part of the Parks Department, so obviously it's working with the Parks Department. I think we talk about trying to think outside the box, that this is a parks, this is a public-private partnership that hopefully we can convince the city would be a healthy combination. And we're fortunate in this neighborhood that potentially we can make it a public-private sponsored facility that we can create. And I mean, this is a beautiful setting. Obviously, this is the one that I keep gravitating toward. But I think, again, we have to think outside the box, and I think for all the reasons that, have just been said. If there, yes, go ahead.
We're just thinking out loud, spitballing an idea. One mistake that they're making, I think, at Green Lake is they're tearing down Green Lake, and then they're gonna rebuild Green Lake where facilities are now, where they could have put the new building in the parking lot, and then when it's done, then rip down the old one and put the parking lot there, and that way you have continuous services, and so to keep the daycare viable here, you know, would there be a way to expand out and build something new and then move the existing activities over there, and then you have a clean slate over here to redevelop to be something that's, adding those amenities that everyone's been offering in the room, as opposed to shutting it down for a couple of years, and you're in the shoreline zone, so you're gonna have a lot of permitting, being too close to the water and all that.
There's gonna be endless issues, I think, but I think again, that's something to consider, and, yeah, I think possibilities are endless.
Who owns Pioneer Hall?
It is owned by the Washington Pioneer Association. And that is another place we've had discussions about, and I've had a number of discussions with the president of the Pioneer Association, Washington Pioneer Association. It was built by Susan Denny family. Susan Denny, I'm saying it right. It was built by the Denny family. And I think it was bequeathed again then to the Washington Pioneer Association.
And they're private.
Am I part of it?
No.
No, they're private.
They're private, excuse me, I'm sorry. Yes, it's a private association. They are trying to raise the funds to renovate it. And you know, they want to maintain it as a pioneer association.
I think when it was gifted,
Yeah.
the requirement was that it be a historical society and that it focus on Seattle's history. And so the notion of trying to change it to something new, I think, seems hard for their thought process. We've thought about it, but
Well, we've thought about trying to work in conjunction with them and have a portion of it be part of it, be the Pioneer Association, and part of it be a community hub. And again, I don't know that that's totally off the table, but it wasn't moving quite that direction, so.
The genealogy library is still downstairs?
It is. And just one tad more information on that is the back 30 feet of the building sunk during an earthquake in 1965. Not by much, but a few, a bit. And there needs to be, there's a huge amount of renovation that needs to go on.
So there's always the Russian house.
Oh, yes.
I mean, come on.
So there's the Russian embassy, which is.
We could give tours and show them all the secret passages.
Yeah,
I just want to kind of piggyback on the comment that was given here, sorry, I don't know your name. But, you know, in thinking about the impact to the community, this is obviously not only a really important swimming beach for our community in the summertime, but also just in Seattle in general.
Yes.
And the idea of thinking about when construction would happen based on our Seattle weather, our summers are precious, and putting the bathhouse out of commission also means probably putting the lifeguards out of commission, and probably the entire beach for an entire summer. So if we were to replace that building, that would have kind of downstream impacts on our community and our businesses down here, I think.
I think that's a great example of why we need to go to the community and talk, because people are going to point that out to us, just like you just did. And so we have to think about all these things. We're at the beginning of this, and we'll try and consider all those factors.
Now, on the positive side, though, I do love the idea. There's one other thing I wanted to say, because I don't want to just be naysay. I think I love the idea of including Madison Valley, of course, Madrona, I think it'd be great. And then, is there potential for other neighborhood associations around Seattle to use it as a rental space if they need a space and they don't have one, if we can raise funds that way, because we're not gonna be using it every night. For any kind of groups that want a rental space or an event space, we can use that to raise funds.
Well, and that's what Mount Baker has done for years. And they, I mean, it's one of the reasons the building stays in such good condition is because they make a lot of money by renting it out for different groups, organizations, and, you know, being able to charge for it, yeah, so.
Yeah, has anyone connected with the junior league on this topic? And I asked because very specifically, I'm a junior leaguer in the Long Beach, California. That was my last stint, but they have precedent where they worked with the city to create a community center in Long Beach. So I just know, like, as a broader organization, they try to recreate projects, and so that might be worth bringing up. Happy to facilitate that too.
Okay, well, that's, yes, and Elizabeth has connected me with the junior league before as well, and I think we'll have discussions with them, but we haven't done anything with them yet, but thank you, that's great. Yes?
What about the FAME MLK Community Center? Because we've tried to have McGilver events there, and it's been difficult to do that.
Right.
But it does seem like a good reason, a lot of rental space.
I know, and I'm not, we talked about that place the other day as well. You know, at one point Bush School wanted to buy them, and they didn't want to sell to them, and so I know the facility is still there, but I didn't know how much it was being used. I don't think it's being used as a community center to speak of these days, but maybe.
They have rentals, but it's limited.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk with them. I think that's worthwhile looking into.
Is North Beach buildable?
I don't know.
Yeah, beach. It's North Beach.
The dog park.
The dog park.
Again, it's owned by the Parks Department, and my guess is, you know, there's, for every space that we think about, there's gonna be an impact for a period of time, or there's gonna be an impact and be a pushback. I think that is to be expected, so trying to find a location that is beneficial to everyone, and, you know, probably painful in the process of building it, but in the long run, such a boon to the community. That's part of the weighing process.
Anybody interested in signing up for a committee, I'll leave this here. We would welcome your good work and your volunteers. So let me know if you're interested.
Any other questions on that? Any other questions on anything else in general? All right, oh, yes.
If you want to donate, how do you go about doing it?
So there are a number of ways to do that. For one, you can just come and talk to
Do
me.
you have a post office box? Or?
We do, we have a P.O. box, it's number 48 at Park Postal. But do you go on the website at all? Have you gone on the website yet?
I just sent it to her.
Okay. Okay. On the website, there are different ways that tells you either by check or you can donate on the website. That's kind of generally the way we've been doing it, but otherwise, people have actually brought me checks, and which is wonderful, totally appreciate it. So there are lots of different methods.
And it's tax deductible.
And it's tax deductible. That's true. Any other questions? Well, thank you all for coming. It's a great turnout. Good meeting. It's the next time we'll have a meeting, and that'll be posted on the website and on the bulletin board by the pharmacy as well. Thank you. And please sign up for Work the Line for any other time.